Okay, in this video we are going to check this simple stool made by Karim Rashid, how to make it in 3ds Max. At the very beginning it looks very complex, while it is not, and I want to show you which are basic steps and which is the concept behind steps that I'm going to do in 3ds Max. We can see a few pictures of this tool. We have several angles from behind, from the side, from the front, and what this stool is about at the end is just this. Look, it is a curvy shape underneath that goes up. It follows basically this path, but up here it changes basically the curvature. So where it changes the curvature is more or less in here, and we can see from other angles that in that part is basically here it is almost flat, and in here the curve creates the seat. Here is clearly visible the fact that this stool is curvy down here and it goes up. In here is where there is big change into the curvature, so it goes from back to front. So in here the curve goes like this. Basically what I'm going to do in 3ds Max will be I will simply start by making a very rough edit poly object, and I will apply at the end turbo smooth to make it better and more precise. So let's check it. We have a box and I have applied edit poly. What I'm doing now is after applying edit poly, I'm going to check that I have snaps set, and I will set snap to the grid points and snap to the vertex. My next step will be I will simply move vertices in order to create a symmetrical object starting from a box, and I will basically use grid points in order to help me in making a V-shaped symmetrical shape. I could start this in many other ways, but this is just to start with edit poly. Once that I create main shape, that is this V-shaped thing, I will use polygon, I'm going to use extrude, and I will start basically making giving the height to this object here. In this way I start building upper part of the model, and I also make a few more segments. As we have seen before, I will start giving these segments where the stool changes its direction. And what I'm going to do now is I am making just a few extrusion steps, and I am rotating the polygon in order to give overall shape and main size to my stool. So the stool is slightly tilted, and I am tilting this to the front, as you can see, and I will now adjust also the base shape because it continues same angled direction, but I'm going now to change a few of these vertex position in order to make the curve a bit more natural. And I will start discovering that into the bottom the curve is a little bit wider, and the more I go up, the smaller the section of my stool becomes. So I adjust a little bit direction of my vertices, and believe it or not, what I will do from now till when I will apply turbo smooth will be I will just move vertices a little bit in order to match the position. But now this is the trick, that is, on the seat I simply move up and down my vertices in order to change the direction of the curvature of this structure. And more or less the stool is already finished. What I have to do is I have to use basically I have to increase a little bit the number of available edges by using connect, so that I can have a more natural curve by having a few more adjustable vertices. So I create these vertices into the center of the seat to have a more similar curve appearing. Then I adjust this part of the seat, that is where in my previous description is where basically the stool changes the curve from concave to convex. There are a few more vertices that I have to adjust because at the seat attachment point the section is a little bit narrower, so I have to scale the position of my vertices, and I will fix also these vertices because the curve is a little bit larger. I think, almost done. Result is pretty nice. I adjust a little bit lower part of the base shape, and I move my vertices to put an accent on the curvature. And once that I have done these steps, so I'm working with a very low amount of vertices, and my object is very sharp, I start adding details. So I cut these polygons so that I have faces that have all 4 or at least 3 segments, edges, sorry, but not more. I make very last adjustments to check the overall proportions of the stool. I have almost done, and last steps that I'm going to do will be I will use connect, because divided is into another tool. I will use connect now so that I can add an entire line of additional edges to make only at the end final curvature, because now it is a V-shaped element. So after selecting these edges, I click connect, I create these additional edges and I move them so that from a V-shaped object I obtain these more curvy elements at the base. I deselect them and I lower top edges so that I have also a more curvy element on the top, and I can raise a little bit these 2 edges up to increase again the amount of curvature that is going to happen when I will use Turbo Smooth, and I make final adjustments by using vertices in to find better looking proportions. I think I have almost done. The result is pretty similar to what it should look like. I need to make a few small things. Most important part now is I will add a very small chamfer transformation to edges of this tool, because I want to keep certain edges not that smooth, a little bit sharp, and I will follow the continuous edge that basically goes from sides, the base and the back of the chair. So it takes a while, but I select all these edges, double check that I've selected them all. Yes, I did. I apply, look, a very tiny chamfer, probably these, but even less. I think exactly this is too much. I will decrease it. So I apply it again, but this time with a smaller, oops, sorry, PC, let me attach, let me plug it, exactly. So look, I'm applying like a 1 centimeter of chamfer. Fantastic, I will say, and I am almost ready to apply Turbo Smooth, but I will do it in 1 second because this tool has a hole, and what I'm doing now is I'm making another box. Because I'm lazy, I will create this box directly with additional edges so that I can easily then apply edit poly, and I don't need to use connect to add this very simple edges, and I make again a rough low poly version of the hole that is in the middle of this stool. So right now it looks very sharp, but what I will do now is I will apply Turbo Smooth to the stool, and is here, perfect, and I always use iterations number 3, and I will apply Turbo Smooth to the second object that I've created. Boom, iteration 3. I just move now this box so that it goes perfectly through my main stool, and I scale it a bit because I think the hole is a little bit larger, and I have done. I use Pro Boolean, subtraction, start picking, bim, bada boom, and my stool is done. I will save it, and then you can find this into the Google Drive as well. Okay? So, believe it or not, it is nothing more than this. So, believe it or not, making a stool like this was nothing more complex than using Edit Poly and making a few adjustments into the vertices, applying Turbo Smooth, and having this fantastic result. Okay? Bye. Ciao.